It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I'm Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I never do this. I don't have the ladies in the building.
Yo, yo.
How you guys doing today? It's nice, bright, early Wednesday. And our lovely audience, we have a full house today. Thanks for always being there. Any first-timers, please? Hello. You are welcome in the name of the Lord. Please stand up for recognition so we can clap for you. Thank you very much. Woo. Thanks for coming. Please, you can have a seat. Mr. Daniel has refused to give us a song, so we'll just keep... Thank you very much. How are you doing, Mariam?
I'm good. Today I wanted to talk about the Kajuru Castle, the kidnap and killing at Kajuru Castle in Kaduna State. It's sad what has happened. Terrorism again, you know, they go to places like this and just kill people. And we just hope that the government are able to catch these kidnappers and the murderers. But the thing about Kajuru Castle that came to me, a friend of mine recently just drew my attention to a post on Facebook he had done in 2015. He had put up a picture of Kajuru Castle and said, you know, he would like to visit. And I'm like, are you sure this is a local site? Because of how beautiful it looked. I did not believe, yes. So it was built 40 years ago by a German expatriate. It is really well done and it's beautiful from the pictures I've seen. So I said to him then, please post pictures when you get there because I still can't believe it's a local site. And then the sad thing to finally hear about this place and it is attached to violence and terrorism. Right. So when I was going through, you know, like TripAdvisor to see what people's comments were now, people were, you know, it's been rated like one of the best tourist sites to go to in Nigeria. But now people are asking, yes, but now people are saying, be careful, yeah, how safe are we? You know, they'll ask the questions, people will give reviews, oh, it's beautiful, but be careful, you might get kidnapped or killed at a place like that. So
that's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
In Kaduna?
Yeah, in Kaduna.
And you know, France makes 1/3 of its entire GDP from just the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. From just France make 1/3, just that Eiffel Tower, just one tourist attraction. So we don't need to have many. We just need to have one and create an environment that enables tourism. We will make a lot of money as a country. But I want to shout out to T-Smart. I know she's not watching, but I've been really, really, really blessed with the few people that we meet in like the most unusual places. Yesterday, we had a chat together, and I realized as business owners, you need to talk to other people that run businesses, and it might just be 10 minutes, but you'll learn from them. Whatever field you find yourself, just find someone that is doing it better than you and engage with them.
Can we get an interesting story this morning, please? How are you doing? Talk about yourself.
I'm good. I'm learning.
I'm in a lecture town this morning.
No, honestly, I've been struggling with numbers, you know.
Okay.
And so talking to someone who has been through it, telling me this is what you can do, how you can get.
Hallelujah, it's doing well. Praise the Lord. Good. Let's clap for her.
You give us this.
How you doing? How you doing? Because your own is always traffic issues.
It's traffic.
Okay, let me give you a bit of it. I usually drive, but this morning I decided to do public transport. My husband was really scared. Why public? My roads are flooded. I cannot be putting my car through the road and spending thousands of naira fixing
because people know you. So he's probably scared that they will...
So he said, put on the shade. If you must do this, see, no biking, and I love biking. You know, it was like, don't, see, I'm warning you. So I had the talk all the way, and I was like, please, my head already is aching.
How was the experience there?
Nice. And the first thing that happened, usually, the Lagos traffic, the yellow bus I took broke down in front of your old church. And then we started from there.
What are we clapping for?
No, because I'm saying that, I mean, we can actually take transportation, and people should be encouraged to take public transportation because it takes cars off the roads. That will cause the congestion.
They asked the students that...
So I'm not going to clap for the governor for not fixing my road and letting me go through flood. So I clapped. I didn't know why you wanted us to clap, but we're going through so much. I would have loved to drive.
On a lighter note, since Mariah is looking for something light and something funny, they asked the students that what is a conductor? And the characteristics of a conductor, and he mentioned that it does not give you change when you get into the bus. The conductor will not take a position; he will not be hanging over passengers. And the teacher marked everything like 0. See me after class. And obviously, what do you know as a conductor? Like, what is a conductor? But you know,
that child is educated
street
on
smart.
Yeah, okay. On the lighter note, before we quickly go, what do you do to your child? My child has turned her white headboard for her bed into like a color. She's colored. I'm going to put it up actually on Instagram. She's colored.
Let her
It
be.
looks nice. So I let her go, but I'm wondering, what do you do?
Before they will move to the wall.
Wait, is it creative genius or is it just a child being naughty?
You know-
Before I created like a space on the wall for the children. I'm like, okay, any writing, coloring you want to do it on this space. But they have
I heard
found
about a
way to
story
take
of a gentleman who broke all the records recently, I think in India. All the 100-year record, he broke a record in something, I can't remember the kid. And they interviewed his father, how did you raise this child? You know what he said? He said every single thing he destroyed in the house, he never spanked him for it because he understood he was just curious. So he broke a few laptops, broke a few TVs here, but to him, it didn't count as naughty. He understood that he was being curious, he was being inquisitive, not because he was being destructive.
Break a few TV.
So, no,
Break a few
I'm just telling you, that's what he
Rich
said.
man's bringing up.
He broke a few laptops. He didn't use TV, but he said laptops. And he realized that he was actually trying to find how does this thing work. He didn't damage it out of being destructive. So once you observe that your child is actually being creative, being inquisitive, don't stop
do it
them.
around my TVs, please.
No, but we need
Or
to be,
the
but you
laptop.
need to be patient to notice that it's not being destructive. Sometimes we're so angry in ourselves that everything the child does, we believe it is motivated towards being naughty.
Yeah,
Me, I
so-
beat children for such things. My
Don't beat
2-year-old
next
took
time
a
so that your
spanner.
child can
I
break
went to his
records.
bicycle. I said, I want to fix it.
No, listen,
The
if
first
your
thing
child
that I
breaks
heard,
it, I said, why did you?
I want to
He
break
was
it.
running off somewhere, and immediately
that's
fell and he breaks and falls. That is just being naughty, running around. But he was actually trying to
fix
it. That's what he does.
Look at the laptop, and mistakenly it drops, or he's actually on screen and opening
Hey,
it.
child.
He wants to see what's inside.
It's okay.
That one, you leave him alone. Because
Okay.
so you just have to fall
Have to very rich.
just assume that you just paid for a flight ticket
Oh,
to
your
somewhere by letting him destroy that laptop.
It's okay.
Anyways, let's go on a break. When we come back, it's Wednesday, right? Let's try to be businessy. Is it businessy?
serious.
No, we're doing education today, right?
Yes, education.
Education. So let's do the papers and we'll be right back. You know, with all our banter, I didn't. Okay, we greeted our audience. I thought we didn't greet our audience.
We did.
The Nation, memory issues. Buhari to tell Goje and Dume, Lawan is APC's candidate. This picture of this gentleman is supposed to be the renowned poet, Chief Akim Ajibade, addressing a group of peoples during the World Book Day, organized by Nigerian publishers. Now, I just saw the picture of the kids like this.
Like, can we
They're
finish?
bored.
Like, all right. Kids don't like reading anymore. You know, all this. I say, how do you bring
But
a
there are
renowned
fun
poet
ways to
to
do
talk to big kids, like babies? I mean, the gap is too wide. He should talk to professors or talk to university
Or you
students.
should
This
learn
gap is
to-
wide.
For a speaker,
Poetry.
you are learned to tailor your speech to your audience, so you know who
Because
your
the kids
audience
look
is.
so bored out
and
of
you break it
mind.
down
They're like
to
just like
appeal
this,
to
like,
them.
oh my God.
Poetry
when is
used to
this
be
done?
interesting as a child for me, but this generation, I don't know. Poetry is something that they're slowly killing. Those days, we knew some poems and we read them. It's
the brain.
We even made music out of them. Oh, Roger is dead.
Okay, so let us take
now.
the other papers, the other stories. Weak revenue profile hindering budget operation. 766 petitions filed at 77 electoral tribunals. EFCC holds Jonathan's associate King Turner. And anti-graft battle, it's no longer business as usual, says Wole Soyinka. What's Soyinka's story?
Yes, so Wole Soyinka was saying that he was speaking on Ad Talk. It's a BBC program, and he was explaining how a lot of them, he said, yes, I believe that compared with the dreams and aspirations we had when we rushed home from abroad, like a lot of them studied abroad and they came back with dreams. The generation came back with dreams, but he feels that the generation has failed us. Asked concerning the president, he mentioned that it was during the election, he knew that he didn't want Goodluck Jonathan in government, and that was why it seemed like he was supporting President
In
Buhari.
summary, he was saying that Buhari's government actually has worked well on corruption. He felt he has scored well on corruption, but failed drastically in anti-terror, in the issue of terror, because he felt that a lot of work is being done. A lot of people don't admit the fact that a lot of work is being done during corruption, but the president has definitely not scored enough in the anti-terror campaign he's done.
The Vanguard one, they didn't have that. All they were talking about was the fact that he feels that president won by default. The first election was by default because people just didn't want Jonathan anymore.
Okay, let's move on now to Daily Sun. 9th Senate's leadership. Crack in APC widens. Picture here of Nimas, is your area? No, this is Lagos Abeokuta.
This is area.
Obiajulo's
This is area. Oh, really?
Kaso is
Lagos
that,
Abeokuta.
Just
Yes.
I thought you and her live on the same street.
No. Muraya, you don't know
really?
Lagos, and you're in Lagos.
Wait,
Don't do this.
you live there. I went to see Lagos Abeokuta.
Yeah,
She lives
she's
Lagos
like
Abeokuta
that.
all the way to Songo is one
right.
way. So I live on the Badagry Express side
Terrible,
of
Muraya.
town.
Right. Buhari to commission Lagos mega projects today. First world's malaria vaccine makes debut in Malawi. Dogara to Tinubu, you are wrong on National Assembly. Police brutality, extortion worse in Southeast Human Rights Commission. And Shoika attacks Buhari on security. All right, so let's see. Brutality, police brutality. What's that story?
Brutality. So the East Coordinator of the National Human Rights Commission, Mrs. Uche Nwocha, raised the alarm that there's a lot of extortion based on their research that, she maintained that the anti-kidnapping and anti-cultism squad
Of the police.
have become agents of terror. And that there needs to be they said the police system has been operating under oppressive act of 1943. So she's calling for overhaul, that whatever they've done in National Assembly is still not enough.
All right.
Let's
There
quickly
needs to be
link it to the recent reports of police brutality happening in Port Harcourt, Delta, more reports happening in the East than usual.
Yes, but there's something
Malawi.
they're calling, a historical moment. We have a new malaria vaccine called Mosquirix. I hope I got that right. It's been developed by GlaxoSmithKline. So it's supposed to help with malaria. You give children about 4 doses, and then although it is not 100% perfect,
Exactly.
but for 30%, it will help reduce the severity of the malaria that you have.
Eventually, it wears
Yes,
off, but
yeah,
at least
eventually,
you
yeah.
still get a
You won't have
good
So
death
they are
from
saying
it.
that even though it's not perfect, that a lot of people are dying by malaria, and we cannot wait for perfect option until. So we'll put
Fantastic.
this one out now.
That's
and-
exactly the story. Thank you. Though I was going to talk about this crack in APC. Why didn't? It's other papers. Let's move on. Actually, I don't want to talk about APC or PDP.
Exactly.
It's really,
Yes,
we're not
this one is
interested.
juicy, oh.
Let them sort their
It's not
matters
juicy, it's just
out.
on
Vanguard.
I don't get it.
Dogara bombs Tinubu. My generation has failed Nigerians, says Shoyinka. New cabinet Buhari in dilemma over Akwa Ibom slot. Insecurity, 63.2% of SIM data in use invalid. NCC reveals. As Buhari visits Lagosians, urge him to see Mile 2 Apapa Expressway. That's your
Yes, so that's what I'm waiting for.
Nima Aisha Zibri is requesting that President Muhammadu Buhari please go to
Yes,
Apapa
yes,
Expressway
yes,
because
yes.
she needs you to see that
Yes.
road. Okay, let's see. 2019 election, 77 panel set to hear 766 petitions.
So
okay.
quickly, let me take it. The reports by Vanguard is, of course, a follow up on all the abuses that we've been suffering there. And the people are calling on the president that welcome to Lagos, but you will not know Lagos if you don't visit the Apapa Expressway, because all the trucks they've cleared from the Ikorodu Road, all the trucks that they've cleared have been brought to an already bad situation to make it worse. And I would add to it quickly that the president should please visit the ongoing Lagos-Badagry 10-lane construction that has been stopped for the past 2 years and there has not been progress and is worse than the road ever was. In fact, my neighbor was saying to me yesterday, you don't talk enough about these roads. They should have left us the way we were than to cause this kind of hardship that they've caused.
We're going to
now.
talk about it a bit later in our hot topic because we're going to
terrible?
discuss the places he's going to be.
I'm thinking of doing a documentary on pictures only, so I'm going to get a camera and all pictures before the rain is done. So I'll have it in a book, so just in case.
Do your thing, Nima. Okay, I actually wanted to talk about this, the crack they said the APC widens. It's important to mention it because the Southeast are continually trying to ensure that they're represented in the leadership of the Senate. Because so far, based on what reports we have, the Senate presidency and the House of Assembly, the House have been zoned to Southwest and the Northeast, I believe, or Northwest.
There's a struggle for the Deputy Senate
So
Presidency,
the Deputy Senate
which is what they are vying
they are
for.
vying for. But right now, I think the South has been penned down for the House of the National Assembly's
Deputy Senate President.
No, not presidency. The
Speakership.
Deputy Speakership has been zoned to the South.
Okay.
They are hoping and expecting that for the Senate, the
have
Deputy
Southeast.
Presidency will be zoned to the Southeast. So the youth are saying, listen, you have to, in the interest of fairness, it's important you consider all angles. But according to them, North Central is being penned down
I
for
was
the Deputy
speaking
Senate
with the
Presidency,
politician and
which they're
he was
against.
like, this zone particularly has been inactive in the party structure in the past, and only recently they were not even able to deliver that.
Listen,
based on those
we understand
sentiments.
those facts.
So when I was saying fairness, he said, okay, look at it from my side.
Yeah, but looking at, we understand the facts. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry understands the fact. We're just saying, just to express that fairness might not be the right word. I'm trying to find the right word.
Balance.
Being balanced.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so that everybody feels that we're part of the family. They should consider it. So it makes sense. Okay, moving on to the Punch. Health sector's crisis. Patients sleep on bare floors, battle mosquitoes in teaching hospitals. Should I even read the quotes here?
Please.
If you go on the tour, if you go to our trauma center, it is now overstretched because of the influx of patients. I assure you that if nothing is done at the primary and secondary health care institutions, we cannot meet the demand in the state.
Yeah, sure.
Picture here of members of the Islamic movement of Nigeria. I think they are protesting for the release of Sheikh El-Zakzaky again. Jilted lover sets girlfriend's family ablaze, kills 5. Let's see. I really wanted to read this Buhari University story, but it wasn't in the paper.
I read the story.
PDP, CUPP,
We'll take it in Daily Trust.
and Kakao attack Aisha over proposed Buhari University. We expect every state to pay minimum wage, says presidency. And my generation has failed Nigerian state income. So let's start with the major headline, the health sector.
So the CMD of Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University in Bauchi is saying that, you know, the hospital was actually created for, it's a 700-bed hospital, but they have a lot more than that. So you have, this report was an extensively done report. So you have people saying that she had her 18-month asked to sleep on the floor because there were no beds. The CMD says he recognizes that people do sleep on the floor, but the patients decide to do that because there are no bed spaces. And the report talks about security issues in Luz, in Enugu Teaching Hospital as well, in Benin, in the teaching hospital in Benin. What they do is they move patients from the teaching hospitals to private hospitals because there's just not enough doctors or enough facilities for patients.
We must really applaud Punch because right from Monday, they've been releasing detailed information about a research carried out across many teaching hospitals, highlighting the crisis in our health sector. So yes, by today, we should have the report from all the ministers. We want a detailed report of what the health minister has done for the health sector. So the issue on ground is that we have primary healthcare centers and the general hospitals that are not able to effectively deal with the issues.
Last I checked, somebody came here and said we should all be going to
the local government. Lagos State is like London compared to what is happening in other parts of the country. And even at that, we still have issues in Lagos State. So there is a major crisis going on.
So Punch has stayed on health, and I think Vanguard has stayed on the roads.
On the roads,
I'd love us to talk about the human interest, but I think
please do.
Time is
the man that said go ahead.
So this man in Ogun State decided to set a girl who jilted him, set her family's room on fire. A family of 8 and 5 people have died from the burns that they suffered from the fire that he set. He put petrol in their room and he's ran off. He's on the run. He can't be found right now. But the girl was able to survive. 3 other people are in the trauma center. She wasn't even in the room
at the time.
But the 3 other family members are in the hospital. And I hope that they find this man. You know, mentally, I don't think somebody can...
Name is Deji Adenuga.
Yeah, Deji Adenuga. Because somebody broke up with you. You now threw fire in the room and set the whole family ablaze.
I mean, the times we live in right now.
Okay, let's take one quick story. In Daily Trust, I think it's the ASU rejects proposal for Buhari University. You have that story?
Yes, so the Waga for ASU decided to go at the president's family because of the proposal for the university to be named after the president. The president's wife, in conjunction with some foreigners, are proposing a university to be named after the president, and she's trying to get approval for that. And, you know, the ASU president is saying he found it like a joke taken too far. He felt that, you know, this government is already averse to public education. They are not fully committed to it, and he's feeling that this proposal just buttresses that point.
Okay, I didn't read the article, but
I read it in Daily Trust.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we have a few hot topics lined up. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So in preparation for the president's visit to Lagos today, the Lagos state government has released a list of roads to be closed. However, Lagosians are reacting as usual to the fact that whenever a dignitary visits, it tends to disorganize their activities. Now, what are your thoughts on this? You can join the conversation 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. All right, so this is normal, you know, when someone like a president comes to your neighborhood, yes, certain roads will be closed. So let's just give you an idea of the roads that will be closed for those of you that have no idea. The first is Mobolaji Bank Anthony Way, coming from the presidential wing of Murtala Mohammed Airport to Lasuth under the bridge, you know that route. Kodeso Road. Kodesho Road. Jesus Christ. Kodesho Road. Obafemi Awolowo Way, Kudirat Abiola Way, and Ikorodu Road, between the Ojota intersection and the Anthony interchange. Other routes are the Wuronshoki Apapa Expressway, between Anthony and Oshodi Transport Interchange, and the International Airport Road through the local wing of the airport to Mobolaji Bank Anthony Way and back to Obafemi Awolowo Road. Roads highlighted above should only be cordoned off when necessary. So these roads will be cordoned off, and today is Wednesday, if you have any business in that area, just find alternate routes. Yeah. So I mean, we get this all the time, you know, but people always complain. Now, why is it that he must cross the road? Can't the president just drive
and fly in
or flying and fly out? must because it totally disrupts. Disrupt the flow for the day. I mean, what are your general thoughts on this? And we discuss this almost all the time. This happens, but what are your general views? Should the government always have to do this each time we have a dignitary around?
For me, I think that actually this particular administration has done a bit better than previous administration when it comes to the president visiting Lagos. You know, so now what happens is that we get schedules. We get ahead of time. You're told where to avoid, and they even give you alternative routes that you can take when some of the roads are cordoned off. And, you know, I was reading this Michelle Obama's book. It's not a Nigerian thing. It happens in America as well. But I think she mentioned one particular situation where they went to New York and it got people talking, just the way we talk in Lagos. People were upset. And so the only suggestion I would have made, I mean, he's coming so close to the Easter break. Why didn't they just use the Easter break to do this when people were at home and traffic was light anyway? So that's for me.
And I was even thinking it was even better on a weekday, because usually sometimes they come weekends when people have plans for weddings and they have celebrations going on, and then it's really disrupt the plans. But Wednesday, hey, maybe it's not as bad as we think.
I would have loved that the notice was at least a week old. Some people had planned events today.
For security purposes, what do you think, though?
Yeah.
For the roads and that. You know, they have to close because their own roads are affected and their events is, you know, somewhere in Amuodofin. But that aside, if we had proper roads generally, nobody would really be crying and, you know, complaining about his visit. The truth is that the state of the roads and in the rainy season is not good at all.
Right. Let me come to the audience. I'll come and ask you who had an issue coming here today based on the roads blockage, but I'll come back to you.
They haven't closed
yet. Okay, so it was free throughout.
From 9, they've closed down 9 to 3.
9 to 3,
so
okay.
They haven't closed yet. I strongly believe that for the safety of the president, is the #1 citizen. We don't want to destabilize the peace of our nation as crises are around everywhere. People that want to cause problems will take advantage of any lapse or looseness within the security apparatus around the president. So I believe he should be protected. However, I also feel that we've so isolated our leaders from the reality of what is going on around. So, yes, if every time he's passing through, there's no form of traffic around him.
Everything looks so perfect.
Everything is perfect. He can tend to believe that we are all living the life and everything is ideal.
Okay, so I'll actually like to come to the audience to even ask you, where would you like the president to visit? I would like to hear one or two calls. Because they've told us he's going to visit the project that they're doing in Oshodi. That's the new transportation, I think it's a train station, I believe. Bus terminal, actually. So he's going to launch that. Then also the 10-lane road for the airport road. He's going to launch that. He's going to what you tell that one? There are a few others.
I think the buses that were bought.
There's a health center and the Lagos Theatre. They have a new theatre. I don't know whether it's but one at
Nainke House also. He said they have a 170 bedroom.
Bed.
170 bed.
Under construction since under.
So let me just throw it to the audience. Where would you like? I know we know your own. Nima, please, and we already said it. So where would you like the president to visit? Let me just take one or two comments in your neighborhood. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I will say that I'm not against the president visiting any place, but he has to visit areas that needs attention, like the roads and so many things. And these trailers and containers on the road, I don't believe in lip service because they only clear them when we have the president or the vice coming. Then when they have gone, the trucks and everything is back again.
Okay.
So I believe just behave the way you are. Don't, because lip service take us nowhere.
Okay, so fantastic point. So we'd like our president to visit the trucks, that Ikorodu road, that stretch that has the trucks, not the one that they've cleared though. Please ask them that you want to go the entire Ikorodu road stretch so that you can see the trucks that are on the roads. Let's take a few more other comments. Yes, go ahead, please.
I am from Ikorodu every morning.
Okay.
Like you see the traffic from that place. And coming from inside Ikorodu, the road is way bad, like for years. And you come in, you leave in 5:30 a.m. to beat the traffic and come here by 7. Come to Italuwo, Dongunyon side, and you'll be like, what's happening in Nigeria? They're fixing the road quite all right, but it's taking forever.
Okay. Is there any other projects you'd like the president to see? Let me come to you.
Thank you. I come from Festac.
Festac, okay.
Welcome.
Like that second rainbow. Every morning, you see heaps and heaps of trucks on that road from Oshodi down to my 2. Sometimes we spend 4 hours just from Oshodi to my 2. But this morning, as I was coming out, the whole second rainbow was free.
Imagine.
I was even surprised.
Imagine.
I didn't even remember that the president is coming.
He just
Maybe
felt
that
they
was
are
why they
efficient.
cleared all the trucks. So even as I was coming from Ijesha, there were trucks also causing a heavy traffic. I would also love the president to please visit Badagry Express Route and see what is going on there.
I know that roads are affecting everybody, but the president already has a scheduled visit to Lassoth. So he's going to go and open the new Ayenke house. What I would rather he does is some spontaneous visits into the emergency center, because we have people literally sitting on the floor getting drip, sitting on the wheelchair getting drip. Because you cannot have empathy if you've not seen what they are going through. If you've never experienced it, you cannot understand.
If you are in Ayenke house right now, or you're in Lassoth, are you saying that when the president comes, they should just say, come to this place?
No. I'm saying that the president, I would. Do you understand? Like, it might just happen. If people picket towards that place, I know there will be cordon of security.
Let us not say.
No, picketing might not work.
Can you visit us? Yeah. Can you see what we're going through?
Like Tokwe said now, an unexpected, he on his own make a decision to see what the condition of living of his people are. So maybe not a road ride, but an helicopter ride around Ojo alone
this morning,
will baffle you.
On radio, I was actually listening to one of the radio shows that review papers, and they were actually questioning what he was coming to commission. They said he's commissioning buses, and 2 of the places he's coming to commission are not done yet. So why do you bring the whole president all the way to come and even commission, and then
politics.
You distort traffic and people's activities.
It's important because it's important for us to mark it as Governor Ambode's project, because you cannot go and commission on somebody else's administration. That's their own project. So I must take credit for it. My administration.
But Lagos State.
That's my own view. That's my own view.
The Lagos State governance is a continuum. Is what we hear all the time.
It doesn't matter who it is. It didn't start with him, but it's done.
It doesn't matter who the governor is, because they continue.
Okay, we have to. Let's go on a break. But I'm glad that. Is there another person that has an area you want the president to see? Okay, I think.
Let me just speak for Biajulu. He should also visit the Abeokuta
Let me take one more.
It's flooded.
Before we go on a break, let me take one more. Let's go. Yes, sir. Which area would you like?
Actually, the place I would like the president to visit is our medical hospitals.
Where?
Hospitals. According to the newspaper you read from the Punch, the dilapidated of hospitals in Nigeria. like Tokwe really said, you should visit hospitals spontaneously to see how the welfare of people being admitted, being sleeping on the floor. It's very, very heartbreaking, honestly.
Okay, let's take one more comment, and then we're done. Yes, sir. Yes, madam.
There's a village around Yaba. I don't know if it's Makoko they call it. So that place is too remote. In fact, you can't even breathe well. That kind of place is, in fact, it's terrible.
Makoko. So we have Makoko, we have hospitals, we have roads, and let's take a few tweets. Anybody answering that
Andrew
question?
says the president should visit Surulere to see the last place the British developed before they left Nigeria. Maybe he could let us have adequate planning in our local areas. And he says the president should visit 1, Akasha Zibiri's Road, 2, Nimas Road, 3, Nimas Road. Nobody should be living through that. Thank you, Ehi. Thanks, so.
If you don't go anywhere, please visit our
Please visit my place.
All right, that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we'll be focusing a bit on issues of depression, especially as a result of academic failure. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So depression has continued to be a source of worry in our society. A story recently broke out about an OAU student who committed suicide over academic failure. Now, the question is, how does academic failure lead to depression? Joining us is the consultant psychiatrist, Dr. Kafaya Ogunshola. Welcome to the show, madam. You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read the tweets. Exam has always been a very scary situation for a lot of young people. And you see kids doing everything to pass, you know, and they get frustrated when they don't get the kind of marks they expect. But now that we're hearing that students are actually committing suicide, we're now wondering, where did this come from? Yes, you failed, but it's not the end of the world. So we assume that people should know how to deal with issues of failure, but maybe not. So I would like you to, how does a child who has failed feel that need to kill themselves over a failed exam?
Okay, so, you know, we need to understand the fact that there are many views into the story, actually. Right. Was this young man already living with depression, which affected his academics, right. And then, you know, he failed, you know, and then the fact that he was already depressed, suicide was already on his mind. Is it the pressure of having failed? Because there are different, you know, sides to it. And then we also need to realize that these days, you know, people they're beginning to see that suicide is the way out, you know, that resilience.
It's an option.
Yes, and that might be another thing that is what we're seeing right now. So there are really, you know, different aspects and different angles to look at that story. And it's until you really understand, was this young man already, you know, ill? Was he getting the help he needed? Was he even speaking out?
Okay, so maybe you're right. There are different versions to this. We don't even know for a fact that because of academic failure. But why would a university student, why would, between 18 and maybe 21 or 22, why would they be facing depression? I mean, it's a young age. You assume that they should be able to be in control of their emotions.
Good. I like that question because, you know, a lot of people talk about depression, but you see, people still haven't gotten and understood what depression really is. Depression is a medical condition, you know, that affects the mood of an individual. You see, our mood is everything. Your mood is what everybody sees. It's how you talk. It's how you carry yourself. It's the way you think. So once your mood is affected, there is a problem. So it affects the mood of an individual, and it is linked, it's associated with a neurotransmitter called serotonin. So you see, depression isn't just, and I mean, if I have time, I would love to be able to shed light on it. Sadness is not depression. Do you understand? Sudden life events is not depression. You understand what I'm trying to say? So, and it can be genetic factors, it can be acquired factors. So for instance, this young man, it could be this acquired thing is his own pressure. You know, the school pressure, inability to deliver, and all of that made him go into depression. Okay,
good that you brought it there. Yeah. So what kind of pressure do we put ourselves in terms of the kind of courses that we pick in school? Some people will say, no, I have to study medicine. Maybe you're not called, or maybe the workload of medicine is not your workload. Do you understand? And then you take it on and you can't deal with it. So let's discuss those kind of pressures that, you know, would now make you acquire the tendency to
so I mean, it makes a lot of sense. For instance, males are known to be more, you know, equipped to handle certain courses, particularly if it's more like, you know, courses that are maybe physics, mathematics, you know, that require visual, you know, yes, you know, special visual activities. Female are more oratory, you know, more communicating, more emotional, and so, you know. So all of those courses, there are things that you would do better in. So for instance, if you find yourself in the wrong course, or you were pressured to study the wrong course, as we know to happen in a lot of homes in Nigeria, if the person struggles so much, and it's not what you want to do, it's not a new thing. I mean, we see a lot of students who actually get into depression because they're not able to cope with the burden that they have been charged with.
We have guidance and counseling. I know in secondary school we have that, but I don't remember in university if you ever have guidance and counseling where you go and you sit and really they just look through your academic records and advise you on what. So would you suggest that maybe the guidance counselor should also be a psychologist, psychiatrist to look at your state of mind, and how would that work?
Yeah, so right now, because mental health has become a thing, you know that in the last, say, 10 years in Nigeria, there was not this much communication, you know, conversation around mental health. So now that things are happening and things are changing, you know, guidance counselors have to be more equipped in dealing with, you might not be able to make a diagnosis of depression, but you should be able to identify once a student is beginning to sleep or when a student is beginning to have academic challenges, and then you can identify this person, help them to cope reasonably, you know, within your own training. And
let
then,
me come, I'll come to you, Tokwe, but let me just go to the audience, because I'd like to hear some real-life scenarios of people who have felt that they've been depressed, maybe because of academics or even any other life issues. And I would like to, maybe the kind of parental pressure you had. But let me come to you. Let's take a few comments before I come to Tokwe. Yes, go ahead, please. Did you experience it?
This is a scenario that happened to me while I was in school. Actually, I had a carryover course then, but I was actually depressed. But I decided to move on because I knew I was going to scale through. But what actually compounded that depression was the fact that my carryover course was now fixed at the same time. So I had 2 courses to do at the same time, 8 a.m. You understand? So I was depressed because I don't know how to manage it. If I read this one, I'll drop it, I'll read the other one. So at the end of the day, I just had to, I was confused because the particular course they were doing for my level, they would not wait for me. So I had to go and write the carryover course and then come back. I made them writing already. So I was so confused. But I never thought of committing suicide. Because I knew I was going to scale through. Because
for me, most people confuse being sad and being down. I'm frustrated with depression. They are 2 different things. Because we've discussed depression so many times that, you know, it's prolonged bout of sadness. It's that inability to see anything good in everything that is happening. Where is the place of religion in helping to deal with depression? Because I realize that most of the time when you can't see any positivity, when you feel like everything happening to me is bad, you get soaked into that sadness and then depression develops. But what about those that are able to say, I have this belief system because I've been brought up to say that with God, everything that happens to me will end up being good. You know, like all things work together for my good. How do we use religion to combat depression?
Yeah, so, I mean, religion has done us, you know, a lot of good things, you know, but you cannot use religion in some instances to substitute science. Someone has cancer, you don't say that, where is the role of religion in this? What do? You go to the hospital, you go to go and get care. And that's what people need to realize. There is a clear divide between being ill. It's a medical condition. You know, because if you continue to still think it's a spiritual thing, then you're going to be running towards religion. So you're going to have to do the right thing, which is get help, and then hoping and praying that the medications will, I mean, that's what we do for every other medical condition.
I think I have to take a commercial. When I come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Okay, let's go into this issue of suicide, because what led us to this conversation is the fact that somebody died.
Yeah.
And as a parent, you send your children to school, you expect that they graduate, and you're wondering, what could I have done better to stop or avert this suicide? So as a psychiatrist, how do you advise parents, especially to deal with the issue of suicidal thoughts? Some kids come to their parents and say, Mommy, I feel this way, and the parents don't even know how to handle it. So how do you have that conversation of suicide with your children?
It's just the way we're beginning to talk about sex education in the house. You know, there should be something called, emotional intelligence right now. You should talk to your kids about their mental health. Just let them know that it's okay to talk about certain things. You know, these are not conversations that we grew up with, but it's conversations now that you need to start introducing. Let them feel free to share, the mood state with you, the way they're feeling, something they experienced, and then you talk about it. Just help them to, and then, in speaking, they have unburdened themselves, and you would give counsel that is likely to, you're going to give your child wise counsel. So all those things, because what you just said is very important. We have made retrospective diagnoses in parents who lost their children to suicide. I'd never forget this case of a woman who, by the time we were done with her, we were pointing out all the signs of depression to her son. The guy was depressed for so long before he actually, hurt himself, before he killed himself. So there's so many cases of retrospective diagnosis. But she did not know.
Parenting style is not, most parents are not emotional about expressing themselves. And we especially train our boys to suppress their emotion. We also put our children under a lot of pressure to be the best. So what can a parent do to help the child understand that, create that loving, enabling environment so that they know that even if I fail, my parents will not send me out? Because that case of, if I fail this exam, don't come back to my house. So
our experiences should teach us, because things are changing and you need to hop on, you need to change with the times.
Let me take this call very quickly. Hello, are you there? Daniel, are you still there? Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm calling for the first time.
Welcome.
Welcome, Daniel.
Yeah, actually, I'm a student of Lagos State Polytechnic. So I don't really know the reason why students will have carryover and like commit suicide. Actually, that's why we have friends in the school. Actually, when you are having something like depression, when you're feeling depressed, you talk to your friends, like your classmates. They will advise you. Sometimes it does not.
Okay, so have friends. Yes,
he did make. So those are something we call coping skills. Not everybody has it, and coping strategies. Having someone to talk to, just being able to talk about a problem. It's true when they say a problem, shared is half solved. That's the truth. So he obviously has good coping skills, because somebody is there to talk to him about his problem.
I want to specify the age when we should start having this conversation, because not just to separate a child's, tantrums from mood swings and all that. So we should have, I believe we should have specific age for the conversations to start.
Once you show your child understands you, you give instructions with him, you guys relate, you have conversations, you know when a child is sad. A child can tell you when they're sad. It even starts really early right now. How was your day? What transpired in school? So are you sad about anything? Did anybody, even relating to, even when you talk about bullying, they already know about it. So once you have gotten to the stage where you can establish back and forth rapport with your child, why not start talking about all of these things?
Let me take this call from Olaiwale. Are you still there?
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
How are you?
Very well, sir.
Yeah, God bless you. Now, I have two things I want to talk about. But let's talk about depression first. Depression comes in all angles of life. Some people, because they don't get pregnant in time, the family of the husband will start calling the woman Akwajabi, let's say. Yoruba people, their problems. A woman can kill herself because of that. Depression is all over. And if I must tell you, at times, poverty causes depression too. And in all spheres of life, one needs to run to God.
Right.
You see? And...
all right. Thank you very much, Olaiwale. Definitely. I think you made your point.
You've made mention of coping skills, and that was the word that's been going in my head. And I wanted to just go back to our viewer, our audience member who talked about the time and the schedule for his exams. And I do feel that universities especially need to take in a more, proactive stance on this.
Approachable.
So now, another caller called and said, oh, talk with your friends. But not many people have friends. And not many people go to university hoping that they will have friends or have lecturers that will understand them. So we have a problem. I remember in school, exam periods were very tense for me. So you have exam schedule and it's clashing. There's no one to talk to. There's no one to speak to. I understand that depression might be something you're already going through, but we need to recognize that maybe the university needs to do more about scheduling and about seeing somebody, you know, one-on-one, who to speak with.
There are course advisors in school. When I was in school, their course advisors, they were unapproachable, like you said. Some of them were unavailable. But there's a department called the Student Affairs Unit where you have counselors. And students should be free. We never thought about it to walk in. So later I had a good rapport with two of the deans that were there. We could actually walk in. When I was in 200 level, my entire result for a semester was wiped out. The first thought that came to mind, because the school just brought out a list and said, advice to withdraw. That means you can't cope in a university setting. But I had seen those results online. So when I went there and someone said, you saw them online, quickly go and see if they're still available online. And we were able to access most of our results. We printed the copies that we could find immediately and started appealing, writing petitions to school. And it affected over 21 students. Even a first-class student was affected. So that thing we were able to cope with it. So it's important that students can walk in. Another thing that happened was when I got into school, we didn't have tutorials. We had no senior groups to help us. So when my set passed, it was a religious group though, NAMLAS then. When I became executive, what we did was that we put together a tutorial group per session and we made sure the sets after us had at least 9 students on excellence list because of our tutorial effort that we put in together. So it's important that you are very aware of those things.
Which is fantastic. Mariam said something about scheduling because I know when I was in school, you had options. So, for example, it's Mathematics 101 you're supposed to do. Math 101 was going to be taught 3 times in the morning, afternoon and night. You pick the schedule that is most convenient for you. Especially if you're going to work at night. So I pick Math 101. For me, I'm going to work in the evening. I pick all my morning schedules. Some people work at night, some people work in the mornings. You pick the evening schedules based on what's. So that's as easy as you said, is a very important part that can help a child to coordinate themselves and to also cope.
But I still want to go back to the loving environment because every time. Once we have that nurturing, loving environment, people should go out and connect with people. I grew up, I always say lonely child. I was always alone. But when you connect with other people, it helps you to cope. I connected through church. So religion was the thing for me. For other people, once we see, and it's one of the things that Dr. Mimuna talks about, that when you spot a lonely person or someone who is isolated or always keeping to him or herself, you should reach out to such a person and help them get involved in activities because such people are vulnerable to inability to cope with things.
Let me take this call, then I'll come to you for our final. Mona, are you there? Chimex, go ahead.
Hello?
Morning, go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning.
It's okay. You're live.
Hello?
Go ahead. You're live. Go ahead.
I'm live. Okay, good. All right. I would like to state this. This thing called depression is not a small thing, no. And you guys this thing has been it has been in our part of country for long. Mostly the pastors have been cashing out from this thing. Most people in church, in fact, the people wanting to church now are depressed. You bring your title, carry everything. Depression will make you spend your last dime any place you find small comfort. The pastors have been cashing out on this thing for long, and they in fact, they should have demonized, demonized this thing called depression but they won't. They'll cash out, they'll bring your title, you find peace in the house of the Lord.
Chimex, I feel your
frustration. Thank you very much, Chimex. You made a very important point, and it's something that we need to actually discuss because people take that issue to the religious houses. But I'll let you have the last word on this because
I wouldn't say we should demonize depression. I mean, that's another way of stigmatizing, and that's one of the problems that we have right now. And then a lot of people go on to say, I'm depressed. Who is making diagnosis? People don't want to come to the hospitals where they can even get the diagnosis made. They make the diagnosis themselves over Google and Dr. WebMD and all of that. You know, there's a lot of stigma around depression, but we all need to, I mean, it starts from you and I. We need to stop stigmatizing it and then stop stigmatizing yourself. If you need help, get up and go. It's not about...
So we have to round up on this, but so somebody right there now is depressed. Feel, I am depressed.
Yes.
What should that person do now?
If you think that you are depressed, you know, like I said, once you have killed self-stigma, there are different hospitals and facilities here in Lagos State. You don't even need to come to the hospital first. There are also we work together with clinical psychologists and all of that.
Where should I go? Grammar is plenty. Where should I go? Where should I go?
You can come to Lagos.
No, not your hospital. Is it a teaching hospital or just any medical?
I mean, there is Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba. There is the teaching hospital, Lagos University. I mean, if you do not stop stigmatizing it.
Exactly.
I mean,
so we should go to Arrow.
No.
Why not go to Arrow? It's a psychiatric hospital.
So we're trying to tell people that Arrow is not a bad place.
It is not.
Where you can get cured for mental
help there.
illness.
Yes.
Yaba left.
Yaba left. It's fine.
I mean, Yaba left is also stigmatized in a way. So Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba.
Don't call it Yaba
Yes.
left. Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba.
Yes. Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, Lagos University, because there's Lasuth, there is Luth. And there's so many other ones across.
Into a psychiatric hospital and you will get treated and ask about it.
Yes.
It's not a joke. We're not laughing because people have mental illness and they need.
When you keep hearing voices telling you kill yourself, use that drug, take that sniper,
That's
whatever
all we can take on this segment. Thank you very much.
Sorry, for universities, for instance, so all these coping, you have to put all these coping strategies for them. A counselor that can identify, that should be trained. So all of these things, yes, there should be routine training for counselors. That they can spot something when there's something is off. You can refer to the school clinical psychologist. Because not all cases of depression have to come to the psychiatrist where we need to prescribe medications. So when you spot it, they can also, you can use psychological therapies and then refer to psychiatrists.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. When we come back, still on educational related issues like sex for marks. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So before we go on, it's important that we clarify because this issue of depression is very important. So I'll let Nima help us clarify where to go to. Yes.
So Yaba left is just on the left side of the road. That's where the neuropsychiatric hospital is. It's an hospital or a hospital for mental health. Just like you have malaria, you go to the hospital for it. You go to the hospital for mental health issues, and they will properly tell you whether you have depression, or you're just frustrated, or you're just sad, or you have just mood swings. There are separate issues. On the right is the university. So
when you hear Yaba left, it's just that goes away. And please don't laugh.
It's not a negative thing.
Trust me. We must change that narrative. We must tell people it's a normal hospital. You need to go there to get checked. If not, we'll have more depressed people. So, several times we discussed sex for marks cases in our tertiary institutions. On the show today, we have with us a national coordinator, Safodondo Arinze Odiari, to discuss the solutions to this menace in our schools. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Now, we hear of this issue of sex for marks. In fact, we just finished talking about depression, and a lot of young people get depressed in fact the fact that they need to do certain things to get certain marks, and that adds to their depression. But I would like to know what you're doing concerning this issue of sex for marks, because a lot of young people feel helpless, that there's nobody that is fighting their cause, or nobody's speaking for them, nobody is ensuring that they are protected. What are you doing about this issue, and how can people find help? Young girls find help when they find themselves in this kind of situation?
Yeah, thank you very much. The truth is, a lot of people find it difficult to share their problems. Now, I heard the last conversation you had about depression. This actually leads to depression. Now, when you share your problem, you can immediately find solutions to it. What we do is to sensitize people about the scourge and give you avenues, channels to complain, and for us to take your complaints further to agencies like ICPC. We are not the police, we are not security agents, but we partner with these people to take your complaints. First of all, we would like you to complain to the school authorities, and from there, we move it on. If the institution tries to cover it up, which a lot of them do, because they are worried about the image, they want to protect the school, the university's image, or the secondary school's image, so they are careful not to let those kind of stories out. So what we do, we say, no, you have to listen to the student. You have to find out what's going on. If you have a lecturer who, a lecturer or a teacher or a staff who is actually into the wrong things here, you need to call.
Okay. So
the
do you
person to order.
have people on campuses, or do you have an office on campus that different campuses that people can walk in? Because the problem, with things like this, as I was saying before the show, before we came on, I was saying that it hasn't happened to me personally, but I have friends that it happened to, and all we did was talk about it because we knew there was no one else to tell. We knew that if you tell the school authorities, nobody was going to do anything. And there was never really any safe place to go immediately it happens to tell. So the thing is, you either try and find ways to, avoid the lecturer, or avoid the course, and hope that you fail it so that you can take it with a different lecturer, or, it just happens.
What we've done is, across the states, we have state coordinators. Some of them are actually lecturers. Okay. So now, it makes it easier for these students to go talk to these lecturers to say, lecturer A, B, C, or staff ABC is, on me. And so we also have the offices in Lagos, which is on OAU Road. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, so all the channels, you can always get in touch with us.
Let's talk about students who feel pressured to be, top students in school. Who would approach a lecturer with this offer? Because, yes, sex for marks, it's easy to talk about the lecturer side, but some students make it a habit in school to pass through school with this, use what you have to get what you want mentality. Let's talk about those students. Why the pressure? Why is there not a unit where they can be counseled and say, this is not where your strength is, this is where your strength is? Why are they not taking that?
How do you protect the lecturer from this kind of students?
You walk into...
The honest truth is that the lecturer has a higher stake here. Okay. The lecturer can report the students. The lecturer can come to class and tell the class that, look what your colleague has done.
And the lecturer can say no.
And the lecturer can say no, because if so much is given to you, there's this trust. There's this trust issue here. We have a lot on the lecturers. It's like your pastors, your doctor. He's the higher authority, so he needs to take charge.
We were talking about this briefly before the show started, and I mentioned how we need to get more awareness concerning the challenge we had when we were in school was that we couldn't prove that this lecturer, it was like your word against mine, and everybody would gang up and support the lecturer and say, no, this man is a man of integrity, he cannot do something like that. But now we live in a generation where everybody has a smartphone, you can just put the phone in pocket and record the audio. How is your organization sensitizing people to be smarter about saying no? Getting evidence of when they are being harassed or abused.
How much of such evidence have you
scared
seen?
of this evidence because it can be actually, they can actually put themselves in trouble. It can be doctors or even put themselves in trouble. You can get in trouble for that.
Yeah. So how do we?
What we try to do is get people to be aware of it in the first place. We go for matriculation ceremonies, and then we say, these are the things you need to do in school. You can as well use a biro to record stuff. You can use your watch. You can use phones. You might not need to bring it out. However, you need to be careful what you're doing. For me, I think you have to follow the stages, so report first to someone, and then if someone is not listening to you, you can now go the extra mile of recording stuff. But then, if you go and record, somebody might come and claim, oh, it's doctored.
Okay. Let me take this call from Morenica. Morenica, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good.
Wait a minute. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good.
Yeah, I want to comment on this remark, and I want to take on to parents. Because the cousin of mine mentioned to me that in secondary school now, that some of our friends in school, they speak to their teachers. They go to teachers to beg them to please let them pass. When they are not doing well in some subject, they tell them that, no, they can't take this result home. They have to pass. They have to do that, And I mentioned to them, like, say, yes, that they do it. And sometimes they ask her, why don't you do the same? You want to disappoint your parents. So I think parents, we should try and not pressure our children that it's all about these good grades and all that. So it starts from that level. In secondary school, when little children will go to teachers and beg them to change their marks so that they can take good grades home to parents. So I can imagine these children going on to uni. What do you expect them to do? They know that, okay, if you find
Maybe that's a great point. The role parents play.
For me, really, yes, I understand the role of the parents, but growing up, I also appreciate the fact that once we left our homes, we were in the hands of the teachers.
Yes.
Our teachers were completely in charge. When I was young, in fact, when I see my teacher on the street, I run. I'm careful. I want to be sure that I'm doing the right thing because the teacher has that authority over me. So I am thinking, even if the student goes to the teacher should be able to say, this should not be
Let me come to the audience. I know I have 2 comments. Go ahead, sir.
This issue of sex hormones, I think it's multidimensional in 2 ways. It might be from the lecturer or from the student.
Right.
Sometimes students wear provocating ways to seduce their lecturer.
Okay.
Then the other way around, sometimes the lecturer might ask for sex so that the student will pass. But if students take their studies serious, I don't think there is need for that. If you are a serious student and you study hard and you do the right thing, there's no need for all
Students looking for shortcuts. Let me take one more comment. That's students looking for shortcuts, right? Go ahead, talk about.
In my own case, I remember when we were in 200 level, there was this lady that the HOD picked on. So the HOD wanted to have an affair with her. So 200 level, it was a 4 semester course. So the lady failed the course. And when we got to 300 level, the lady failed the course again. And when we got to 400 level, the lady failed the course again. And, we got to know that from the note, but that lady committed suicide, trust me. Wow. By the time we got to 2nd semester, 400 level, that was the final year. So the lady committed suicide. From the notes she wrote, she said that she has met the school counselor and everything, but because it was an HOD person, we couldn't talk to HOD. We couldn't even talk about it because we don't want to have extra year. And that lady died, and we just silent the issue like that. So
thank you very much.
Now, Moriah, at this table, I'm sure a lot of people know, I will never accept this thing where we always blame the victim. There's no provocative kind of dressing that should make you, who naturally are not a person that abuses people, to abuse someone. You would resist it. So it's important that we realize that, okay, first of all, let me just take one after the other. The person that called and said your children should not go and be begging for marks and everything. There's something that I say. I've never been to an American or university, but we watch movies. They go and meet their lecturer. Okay, this happened, blah, blah, blah. Can we redo it? Can we do something? You are supposed to be able to have that conversation with your lecturer. It's supposed to be normal. You have a conversation with your lecturer about your marks, about your work that you have done. So it should not be now, it should now not become a place where Nigerian lecturers now make it a place, oh, she came to meet me. It is okay to go and meet your lecturer and discuss your marks, and discuss your exams.
Let me take this call. I'll come to you, Talkway. Thanks for calling. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Go ahead,
Chooks
Chooks.
is my name.
Yeah, Chooks.
Okay, I think I've been a lecturer. I've lectured in private and public schools, so I think I'm the right person to talk about it.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, it's more rampant in the public school than private school. That's it. But the problem comes from both the lecturer and the students. Yeah. So it's not an NGO thing. So forget about the NGO thing solving the problem. The solution to the problem is the school has a law that any lecturer that does this. So when you bring in NGO, you're wasting your time because NGO too can compromise. So let's forget about the NGO thing. So let's tell ourselves the truth. So it's a problem that can be solved within the school, not outside the school. That's the issue. So in private school, it is difficult. And another important thing, please, let's have this in mind, lecturers goes after the students that don't know anything. The first class students, lecturers don't go after them.
They do.
We should try to reorient our students to read their books well. So because no lecturer goes after, in every class, at least ask Nima, in every class, the students that are doing well and the students that are not doing well.
All right, Chooks, can I ask you a question? Since you've been a lecturer, have you ever been attracted to any of your students, or have any student come to you, seduced you in any way?
2 different questions.
Yes, a student has reported me to the deputy dean that I told her that if she didn't agree that she's going to fail. Unfortunately for the student, I went to the deputy dean and eventually discovered that I'm not even teaching their class. I wasn't even teaching their class. So how will you fail a student that you're not even teaching the class? The student eventually came to me to apologize when I was teaching other students one day. So that's why I say it's from both the students and the lecturer. There's a law. So a student can go to dean. the student affairs. There's a law there. But the problem is that you don't talk to other lecturers because if you talk to other lecturers, the lecturers will team up against the students.
Right. Okay, thank you very much, Chuks. Let me take a quick break. When I come back, we'll talk. We'll take this down. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So let me come to talk real quick.
It is extremely irritating for any human being to give excuse for an adult. So any lecturer, there is no underage lecturer. Every lecturer is an adult in custody of young minds and young children. So if for any reason that child is impulsive and comes to meet you naked, the expectation is you are an adult. It plays into the narrative that men are dogs. They are controlled by their body. They cannot, they are visual. Everything they see, they'll just follow. They are adults and they are human beings and they can control their impulses. Every lecturer that is found guilty of any sexual immorality should be punished by everybody.
That's it.
So it's good that
we have to, I'm going to, let's take a few tweets, but I would like our guests to just tell us, hopefully in a nutshell, what students can do, what you can do for students to help them when they're in this situation.
Well, at the moment, there's a bill in the National Assembly.
Okay.
Let's start from there. Okay. And it went through first reading in 2016. Yes. And I think it's all politics and sponsored by Omar Gige, the popular Omar Gige. So we're going to... We've been talking with him to see how we can push on the bill. Perhaps it's going to be the next assembly. The next assembly.
What's because this bill exactly? What does it say?
The bill is simply about sex for marks.
What happens to the person?
It says from 2 years to 5 years, including winking to a student.
Okay.
Winking to a student. If a lecturer winks to a student, you're guilty of an offense. Exactly.
You have to have CCTV cameras.
We cannot. When is the student? When the lecturer finally is able to establish that this student is behaving improperly and is, is making offers at me, what happens? Is he covering that as well?
I think that will cover it. But again, they have a lot of fine-tuning to do with the bill, so we want to get involved with the fine-tuning, and hopefully the distinguished senator will let us be part of it and we'll take it up.
Ostino says there's also sex for promotion in the workplace. Women are super victimized in the Nigerian society. On the other hand, some women use what they have to get what they want. And, as one of your guests said, then Mehi is saying, to Miriam, there are young ladies in tertiary institutions who openly flirt and really want to date their lecturers because they just like him. I saw that happen.
There are some cute lecturers, really handsome lecturers. So the arguments, I've had that conversation in the past where there are young lecturers and you're an adult, you're over 18, you're 21, and you're so is it appropriate? That's a completely different show. We'll bring it up another day. Is it appropriate to date your lecturer? Yeah. That's a different show. So bring it up. Let's take a few more tweets.
Victor Aldo says, thank God the female lecturers that were in my department were already in their late 60s. Their sexual faculties were already on permanent sabbatical. So we need not worry. Victor Aldo also said that you couldn't... Oh, sorry, I don't...
There was something... One about
already says lecturers frustrate certain students on purpose and won't let them graduate. This very OAU boy was a class rep, failing one course over and over again.
They have to round
have offended someone. The university system needs to reform because lecturers think that they are some sort of gods to be worshipped.
Right.
No, they are not. The lecturers are not. And the truth is that some students don't actually know how things are in the university. Yeah. Like somebody said in the audience that a dean or HOD, the buck doesn't stop at his table. There's the vice chancellor. There's the school board, the Senate and all that. So if you actually, your exam script is actually not the lecturer's property. Yeah. It's the university's property.
Each faculty has an exam board.
Exactly. So you can challenge that and then take it on.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but thank you very much. So I hope people know that they have options, and this is our conversation. That's all we can take on the show. We'd like to thank Mr. Tijani for the drinks we got today for our audience. Yemi Legends, our personal person. Our personal small chops for our guests. And cream slices, as usual, our personal person too, cream slices. get us a cake. You already you're enjoying too much, oh. I don't understand. Cake, small chops, drinks, water. Only you. Anyways, thank you so much. And Ramota, lovely neck piece.
So I just want to give a shout out to Ramota.
1 second, guys, please. 1 second.
Ramota is an intern here, and she does these beads, and she does it. I mean, look at it.
So
She's
we
so
need
resourceful. We just need young people.
We need to encourage young people. Do a business, and obviously you can get up on. That's beautiful necklace.
Talent.
Thank you very much. That's all we can take. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow.